This may be the best draft class we've ever seen. There's no clear number one pick, but there's sure a lot of talent. We follow not only their journeys, but also the journey of the user-created rookies and the real NBA players to see how their journey ends. Without further ado, let's watch greatness unfold. The high-flying shooting guard has been electric and has had many crazy highlights with his unbelievable dunks. Will McDaniels is part of an explosive UCLA backcourt and has really put UCLA back on the map since the Lonzo Ball days. If you couldn't tell, this man is pretty strong and his buff build should tell you that. He looks to be a floor of Terrence Ross and a ceiling of a Zach LaVine type of player in the NBA. His UCLA backcourt teammate, Xavion Williams, is one of the best playmakers in this draft, and I'll show who's challenging for the title, but for now, Xavion is a well-rounded player. He can find the open man like no other, but what separates him from other playmakers is his defense. He's a great defender, and maybe with some more experience, he can become a lockdown. Xavion is great at drawing fouls as well and creating space for an open mid-range jumper or for his teammates to get open. Analysts compare the young playmaker to a Shai Gilgeous type of player. The other elite playmaker in this draft is Aiden Turkey. The Utah State guard, in my opinion, is the best passer in the draft, but unlike Xavion, he can't really play defense, but he makes up for it with his elite shooting ability from 3. He doesn't look like it, but he actually is pretty athletic. He's quick and has ability to shock some people by dunking on your favorite player. The left-handed scorer out of Texas has been the team's only bright spot. Liam Archer is one of the craftiest scorers in the up-and-coming draft and has possibly the best ability of hitting tough shots, especially from 3. He's not the fastest, but his ability to use angles and change of speed to get past his man is top tier. He can't play defense to save his life, but he is good at playmaking and everything on the offensive side of the floor. He's very young at only 19, but if he can become more disciplined and smart with the ball, he can develop into one of the deadliest players at scoring the ball in the NBA. Going to a big man, Dylan Owens out of Iowa is up there with Jamal Rush as one of the nation's best centers. Unlike Rush, Dylan is more of a traditional big man. He can somewhat hit the mid-range and he can't shoot threes, but he has said he's working to improve his shooting, which will definitely help his draft stock. But his main area of expertise is in the paint. The Iowa prodigy is a beast inside and nearly unguardable when he's in the post. He's great at drawing fouls, and Owens has great post control against small centers, tall centers, athletic centers. It doesn't matter what center. Owens will dominate you when he's in the paint. He may not be a do-it-all big like Jamal Rush, but Owens is surely going inside the top 10 on draft day.
Breaking news from the NBA, Adrian Wojnarowski is the man behind the news.
Reportedly, the rookie, True Richmond, who was the 11th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, has been charged with reckless operation of a vehicle. After he was caught speeding after the Thunder's loss to the Spurs on January 3rd, the rookie has been good for Oklahoma City, putting up respectable numbers of 13.5 points a game on 44% shooting from the field. It's a disappointing headline to read, and it's more disappointing for the Thunder as they report he will miss the next 3 games due to his behavior. It's a disappointing thing to see, but he's just a young kid and he'll learn from his mistakes. We want him to play for us, but most importantly, we want him and others to be safe, so we decided to keep him out for 3 games to serve not as a punishment, but more of a chance to reflect and recover mentally. With no Giddey and no Richmond for Oklahoma City, will Adonis Poe step up to the plate when the Thunder need it most? 5th overall pick out of North Carolina balled out during his time to shine. So much so, I think it's time for the Thunder staff to let him play more minutes, as he's proven he's worth that extra playing time. It's great to see such a high overall pick actually live up to that number 35 jersey for OKC, doing the Kevin Durant name some justice rather than disappointment. Now for a team on the rise. The San Antonio Spurs started the season off rocky, but ever since they have bounced back and shown off their potential they had in the preseason. The Spurs now sit at the 9 seed in the West and good enough for a play-in spot, with a 22-23 record with a 5-game win streak. For the Kings, we haven't talked much about them because there isn't much to say. They have a great offense, no doubt, but their defense has been bottom 5 in the league. After some solid seasons, they have fallen off quite a bit into no man's land, and hopefully the once electric unit will come back to not only score but also get wins for Sacramento. San Antonio ends up defeating the Kings in a tight contest that ended with a Paul George 3 to seal the game for the Spurs. In Lillard's second revenge game, it was clear who was the better team. Unlike the first time these two teams met in Portland, Lillard did not dominate. Instead, his teammate Anthony Edwards lit up the Trailblazers for 51 points, which is a season high for Anthony Edwards, and ended up with Portland taking a 126-105 loss, their second loss to Minnesota on the season. And after this game, the Indiana Pacers came calling to make a trade. The 4th overall pick in the 2024 draft gets traded to Indiana. Rick Person, who was an elite 3-and-D prospect, hasn't gotten his shine in Portland, which is due to his mediocre play, coaching, and just the team personnel. But Indiana did not pay a small price, don't get it twisted. The Pacers desperately needed a forward and especially a 3-and-D player to help spread the floor for the elite playmaker Tyrese Halliburton. So, the 6'10" 4th overall pick is now a full-time starter for Indiana, pairing with the future All-Star Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, and Miles Turner. The new-look Pacers debuted against the Utah Jazz. There were some ups and downs for Indiana, but overall the pairing seemed to be great. Indiana has been a good team at finding untapped potential. They got Halliburton from Sacramento, and now they have Rick Person, who appears to be a star in the making. Watch out for Indiana because they look to be a young squad making a big rise in the ranks. Indiana is now the 5th seed in the East with a 28-19 record, while the Jazz dropped to 11-40, the worst record in the NBA besides the Lakers. The Rookie of the Year race has been tightly contested throughout the entire season. Javon Ayuk for the Mavericks has been a dominant center right out the gates, but since he's been battling through knee injuries, his stranglehold on the award has loosened, allowing guys like Ty Wallace and Kyron Matthew to enter the mix. Both Kyron and Ty play on mediocre Eastern Conference teams, with the Raptors being the better of the two as they sit with the 8th seed in the East with a 25-25 record. Kyron Matthew got drafted as the 1st overall pick, and even though he was supposed to be a project player, he has lived up to the hype right out the gates.